The Trump administration, now in its second act, launched a bold economic policy that shook global markets and reignited debate across dinner tables nationwide. With a sweeping executive order, a 10% universal tariff was placed on all imports, across the board, from coffee beans to computer chips. For some countries, like China, India, and Vietnam, that number jumped even higher. To Trump and his supporters, it wasn't just a trade decision, it was a philosophy, a push to reclaim American independence in a tangled global economy. But the real question is, what does it mean for you? Your paycheck, your shopping cart, your job. Let's break down the 2025 tariffs, why they happened, what's happening now, and who stands to gain or lose in the long run. This means anything not made in America? Automatically 10% more expensive. From smartphones and TVs to bananas and electric cars, the new cost hits everything. But the policy isn't just broad, it's targeted. China gets hit with even steeper tariffs, as high as 60% on certain industrial goods. India, Vietnam, and even longtime allies like Germany also see hikes. Mexico and Canada are temporarily spared. But Trump warns no one is off the table. Why? The goal, Trump says, is twofold. First, bring jobs back home. Revive factories, put American workers back in charge of production. Second, slash the trade deficit, the financial gap where America imports far more than it exports. Trump's words were direct. They send us cheap goods. We send them our jobs. No more. This move marks one of the most aggressive tariff policies in modern U.S. history. And it set off a chain reaction fast. Supporters of the plan say it's already working. Tariffs generate money. Big money. With over $3 trillion in annual imports, a 10% tax could bring in more than $300 billion a year. Over the next decade, that's real change. Trump's team promises to use that money to cut income taxes, pay down national debt, and invest in American infrastructure. But the biggest promise? American jobs. Steel plants in Ohio are reopening. Tool factories in Pennsylvania have ramped up production. A textile mill in North Carolina, closed since 2010, just rehired over 250 workers. For small manufacturers, it's a new day. One Indiana machinist said, "We've been priced out for decades. Now we can finally compete." It's not just about economics, though. It's also about security. Trump's administration argues that relying on foreign goods, especially for medicine, semiconductors, and food, makes the U.S. vulnerable. Tariffs, they say, are a way to protect the homeland, economically, strategically, even militarily. The message from Trump is loud and clear. We're putting America first, again. But there's always a but. Tariffs don't just affect countries, they affect consumers. You feel it when you shop. By mid-2025, prices were rising across the board. A Yale study estimated that the average American household would pay between $4,500 and $4,900 more per year due to the tariffs. Imported fruits, up 20%. Laptops, up 15%. Washing machines, up 25%. And even products made in the U.S. saw price hikes because many rely on imported parts and raw materials. Retail giants like Walmart and Target began warning of sustained cost pressure. Some passed those costs to consumers. Others adjusted their product lines to avoid the hardest-hit imports. One mom in Detroit told the New York Times, "I love the idea of American jobs, but I can't afford a fridge that's now $2,200 when it used to be $850. To help soften the blow, the administration offered expanded tax credits. But critics argue the relief doesn't cover the rising costs at gas stations and grocery stores. So while American-made products may be coming back, they're coming at a price. Around the globe, reactions were immediate. China responded with its own tariffs, hitting American soybeans, beef, and even electric vehicles. India and Vietnam slapped new taxes on American software and medical devices. And the European Union? They took the U.S. straight to the World Trade Organization, calling the move illegal under global trade law. American farmers felt it first. Soybean contracts vanished overnight. Midwest cattle ranchers lost major clients. Exporters and high-tech industries were suddenly shut out of key markets. Still, Trump didn't blink. "We're not getting pushed around anymore," he told a rally in Texas. "This is the cost of freedom." Markets reacted. The S&P 500 dropped nearly 6% in the 2 weeks after the announcement. But smaller U.S. manufacturing stocks jumped. Some analysts said this was a necessary shakeup. Others warned of a trade Cold War, one that could spin into a global recession if retaliation escalates. Even U.S. allies started rethinking their own strategies, wondering if their exemption would last. Back home, America was divided. Republicans on the far right called it long overdue. Blue-collar workers in swing states rallied behind the move. One voter in Ohio said, "He's finally doing something real for us, not just talking." But moderates and independents were more skeptical. Democrats called it a tax on the middle class, one that hits lower-income families hardest. Younger voters, raised on cheap tech and global access, started asking, "Are we trading freedom for inflation?" Even within the GOP, there were cracks. Some lawmakers pushed for more targeted tariffs instead of a blanket approach. Others warned that rural economies, especially farms, were at risk of long-term damage. By July, tariffs had become the single biggest issue in American politics. Debates broke out on cable news, TikTok, and kitchen tables alike. And the big question on everyone's mind? Is it working? The story of the 2025 tariffs isn't finished. It's an experiment in real time. High stakes, high impact. It could remake American industry. It could push inflation higher. It could bring jobs home, or isolate the US from the rest of the world. One thing's certain. In 2025, America made a loud and deliberate choice to prioritize self-reliance over global deals, to put US workers before foreign goods, to take control no matter the cost. Time will tell if that gamble pays off, and the world is watching.